Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to SevTech Ages. Now, since last episode, I have done a little bit of building within this room, adding in pillars and starting to add the second floor on. I also got all the cloches moved over into the room with the bonsai trees. I did get those moved over, and that's the main thing. I haven't got a ton done, and I do know this episode is going to be coming out a day later than intended. That's just due to just being behind on stuff. Being really busy at the start of the week with Exoria stuff and whatnot, and then I also spent a bunch of time working on that roof before the last episode and just got behind. Over here I did set up a kerosene lamp, and this thing is consuming kerosene. It's actually a decent amount of kerosene. You know, it adds up, especially being on a server, but I do have this thing running right now. And I've got it set to 20 blocks. You can set it up to a range of 30 blocks, but basically what it does is it creates a light source around it. So if I hit F7, I mean, this thing is lighting up all the way. I've got to fix that. That cable hanging down. It's lighting up all the way over to here. Which isn't too bad, because right now I'm not using kerosene for anything. I mean, eventually, well, we can use it here soon for stabilized metals. Probably going to use lubricant instead. Because really the only use for lubricant is for speeding up machines like the crusher and stuff. And I really don't need a sped up crusher. In truth, I don't think, aside from stabilized metal, I don't think there's any other real use for it. Unless I want a sped up crusher, but I don't really want a sped up crusher. So, anyways, I wanted to get on with what we're going to be working on, because then I can actually start changing up some of this and cleaning it up. One thing I did have to fix is, you can't see in there because of all the air pressure. I had to reduce this to only one valve instead of having the 4 valves, because for whatever reason, after every server restart, this thing would go back down to 0 bars of pressure, and it would be spewing the air into just... It was spewing it inside the tank, but it's on, I don't know, like if you recall I said this had to be chunk loaded. That didn't really seem to fix it. It seems to be based on server restarts, and it just kind of breaks with multiple valves. It'll be like the other valves, aside from like the first one that I placed or something. It was always like this one was okay, but the other two were messed up. And I thought, well, maybe it had to do with the redstone that was near it. No, I removed that, and it still did it. So I ended up just having to remove those valves. So, I don't know. I'll play around with it a little bit more here soon, because we're going to be moving up to like the advanced tubes and the advanced everything, you know, here soon. So we'll wait and mess around with it then. But I did go ahead and go through these and lock in all 16 colors of plastic across the 16 plastic mixers that we have. So all of those are locked in. So just a heads up on that. But anyways, today we're going to be continuing on with what we were working on. And we left off, we had just got this plugged up so that we could start running it. And we got the amadron tablet crafted. And now we're ready to actually start using the pressure chamber and working towards our crusher. So this is what we're working towards, of course. And compressed iron plates, pistons, that stuff's not a problem. The machine cases, and I actually already have the compressed iron plates, cobalt plates, the plastic sheets, the Certus quartz. The black iron frame, I can knock that out without issue. I may already have that stuff on hand. Stabilized metals, not a problem. I actually have 2 stabilized metals left over. But we're working towards our printed circuit boards. And to do this, we're going to need transistors, capacitors, and unassembled PCB. Which we can either do it with the assembly system, which we're going to get into that, but we have to get circuit boards made before we can actually do the assembly platform stuff. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to do this, the etching acid. And we're going to have to do the UV light box. And we're going to have to make empty PCBs. So green plastic and compressed iron. And I'm actually going to go ahead and shoot for, let's see, we're going to need 2 PCBs for our crushers. And then I also want to make enough for the assembly system. So if we take a look, the assembly controller is 3 printed circuit boards, laser is 1, I/O unit is 1, and that'll be another 1 right there for the import and the export. Then the platform is 1. So altogether we're going to need 7 printed circuit boards just for this system, and then the additional 2 for our crushers. And then there was some other stuff that I was wanting to make with it, but I'll wait Well, do I want to wait or do I want to just go ahead and craft up a bunch of these things? Printed circuit board. We'll get into drones later. The advanced PCB I want to get. And I'd actually like to go ahead and get a drill and laser as well. And then I'd like to have a couple left over. So I'm going to go ahead and just make 12 of these things. 12 empty PCBs to get us started. So we're going to need 12 pieces of green plastic and 12 compressed iron. Which we actually have all of that right here. Okay. And we get to use our pressure chamber at long last. Okay, so we are going to input here. It's going to go into there, and then on the output, we're going to go ahead. This has a lot of different filters here that we can set. And since we don't presently have an empty PCB, like right now, if I was to throw items in without a filter, it's just going to pull them right back out, right? So we need to set this and tell it what it's going to pull out so that it knows intelligently that it needs to pull out, you know, that specific item. So we're going to set it to item name begins with. You also have item name contains or items. And that works like I can take and drop items into that. But we're going to say item name begins with, and we're going to say empty. And so it'll collect anything that begins with the word empty. I could even put it as, realistically, since green plastic and compressed iron, I could put it as E if I wanted to. So it really doesn't matter how you want to do that. So, but then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and drop our compressed iron and our green plastic into this. And I've got some speed upgrades. Let me drop some speed upgrades into this, just to make this a bit faster. There we go, and there we go. Okay, now if we take a look, it's hard to see because of all the air. You can actually kind of see items there, but they're probably already pulled out. Yeah. And actually, I just got back from ferrocolite farming up. Okay, so there's our 12 empty PCBs. It's pretty hard to see with all the gas in there, but what it does is it drops the compressed iron and it drops the green plastic in there. Then those things take a second, and as long as there's enough pressure in this system, which the pressure to craft that you can see is right in here, like where that little green bar starts. That's the proper pressure. It needs to be somewhere within there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, since we've got that, we need to craft UV light boxes. This right here. And you can see right here that it says it takes about 10 minutes without any speed upgrades. But we're going to put speed upgrades into our UV light box. We're definitely going to put some in there. Okay, so it's pressure tube PC blueprint, which is craftable. Circuit boards and plastic, but we can get it with the amadron tablet, which is how we're going to do that. Normally, unless it's been changed recently, I mean, the last time I did Pneumaticraft was 1.10, right? I think it was in 1.10, maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've done Pneumaticraft. But in the past, you couldn't craft this. From what I recall, you had to get it through the amadron tablet. But regardless, the amadron tablet method is really, really easy. So what we're going to do is, let's get ourselves two things. We're going to want a chest and we're going to want a tank. So there's a chest, and we can use any form of tank. I'm going to try a blood tank. I've got a tier 2 blood tank that stores 32,000 millibuckets. I'm going to try that. And then I'm going to want an output node, an input node, and a master node. But once we get into advanced pressure tubes and stuff, I can kind of... Advanced pressure tubes and advanced compressors. I want to resort out the machines over there, so I haven't really built out the floor until I get those machines all sorted out. So I figured I'd just go ahead and start this episode so we can get that stuff up and going. Because we're going to have to get the assembly platform before I can start making the advanced stuff, really. And then I can kind of rework things. So, okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to put an input node. Like I said, you can get stabilized metal now. Instead of having to craft it the long way that we did last age, we can get it right here with either 10 buckets of oil per metal, 8 buckets of diesel per metal, 5 buckets of kerosene per 2 metal, or 8 buckets of lubricant per metal. And so I'm going to go with the lubricant method, I do believe, because diesel I'm using for, breaking down into these things. Oil I'm using for breaking down into diesel and naphtha. And then kerosene I'm using for my lamp, and possibly more lamps in the future. Plus, soon we'll be using kerosene to create fuel for Galacticraft. So I think I'm going to go with lubricant because I'm not really using that for much of anything at the moment. So we're just going to put down our input node right there, and I'm going to need to make filters, actually. Okay, so I'm going to say that the east side here gets the lubricant. There we go. And we'll go ahead and grab this connection, and then we're going to set up an output for this. And I think we might put it... Do I want to put it over here? Because it tends to be better if it's outside. And I'm hoping the drone can like fly through there because they're only 1 block tall. So I think that I'm going to put it setting like right over here. And we'll put the blood tank setting right there. We'll put our output node setting right there. And we're going to say that the downside has that fluid filter with the lubricant. And then we'll just connect that up. And then we're going to connect this up to a master node. It's going to be setting right over here. And there we go. It's starting to get lubricant now. And then let's go ahead and take our chest and we'll set this we'll put this down like right here. And then we'll take our amadron tablet and we're going to go ahead and just shift right click there. And it says amadron tablet liquid providing location is right there. And then we're going to shift right click the chest and it'll say item providing location. And that's all set now, and we can just leave that there forever. This amadron tablet will stay connected up to those. And then what I can do is I can open this up, and it kind of works like, you know, like ordering off Amazon or something, basically. We can see the PCB blueprint's right there, but it takes 8 stabilized metal. Let's see, before we order that, there is 32,000 millibuckets in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to right-click our stabilized metal, and we're going to set it to 4. And then we're going to say order. So here in a second, there we go. It's pretty quick about it. The drone comes flying in and he's finding a way to get over here and flies in. He collects the fluid from there and you can see it's back down to 32,000 millibuckets. He's going to fly away now. And then here in just a second, there we go, he's coming back. Or a new drone's coming back, I think. That was the one over there that vanished. You can see he's actually carrying stabilized metal. Right there, and he dropped it off at the chest. So there we go. So there's 4. Now for the PCB blueprint, it's going to require 8. And then we're also going to need these. I might as well get these ordered pretty soon. But alright, it's back up to 32,000. So we'll go ahead and order 4 more. And we'll say order. And here he comes. He's flying in. Dun dun dun. I love these little drones. I love the amadron tablet just in general. It's amazing. If we watch it here, see, he kind of vanishes off in a puff of smoke. Then the other one comes in here. And if you look really, really carefully, you can see he's actually carrying that stabilized metal. And there we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to order our PCB blueprint. And actually, I can leave this stuff in the cart. You can see I can close it off. If we wait till this hits 32,000 millibuckets, there we go. Let's go ahead and order another 4 stabilized metal. Go, and look at all the drones flying in. One of these is for the liquid. One of those is for picking up the stabilized metal. So there they go. And then actually 2 is going to come back. 1 carrying the stabilized metal, 1 carrying our PCB blueprint for us. There's the PCB blueprint, there's the stabilized metal, and there we go. Okay, and let's see, what other... I'm going to need these 3 things. The laser, the drill, and the drill and laser. I'm definitely going to need those. And then this is all... I don't really want to buy oil. That's actually a terrible trade because oil is like free. And lubricants, no thanks. I really don't need it. Okay, so yeah, that's the main thing we're going to be trading for is these 4 things right here. And I don't think that we really need another PCB blueprint. I mean, technically I could get another one for another UV light box. But no, I think I'm just going to stay with 1 UV light box because we really only need to make like, 7 PCBs with the UV light box and then we never need it again, ever. So I think if I do speed upgrades in it, I think we'll be alright. Let me go ahead and order another 4 of these. And I'll show you something. Whenever he comes in, if we open this up now, you can see we can't order stabilized metal. because we don't have enough lubricant in there. And you can see that's why everything else is like red right now. Well, we can't access it. Okay, he's about to bring our stabilized metal over. And so I'd like to go ahead and order the... Let's see, this is the laser program to make the unassembled PCBs. So let's go ahead and order that there. And then we'll go ahead and... Okay, yeah, we can order 4. There we go. We'll go ahead and order that. So that's going to be there whenever we need it. But right now I just need the PCB blueprint. And that is shopping with Amadron. It's actually a really cool, unique system. And, I mean, it's something that no other mod really has something that cool, I don't think, for, like, shopping. I really, really don't. You can see we did use a little bit of pressure out of the amadron tablet, but I'm just going to go ahead and get that running again. And then what we're going to do, let's see, we've got that. What else do we need for the UV light box? Pressure tube and then 3 redstone lamps. Okay. Well, I've got a pressure tube there. I probably need to make more. I can't remember if there's any more over at the base because I dropped off all my Pneumaticraft stuff earlier. Okay, yeah, we've got some more of those. Alright, let's go ahead and get our UV light box. There we go. And I've got speed upgrades on me. We'll get this thing running and then I'm going to do some speed upgrades. And we still have to get the etching acid as well. Let's see, let's take a look. The speed upgrade, I can't remember. I made some of those before and they're not terribly expensive. Sugar, lapis, and lubricant. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead. It's nice because it gives me a use for all that lubricant that we've got building up. Though here soon, hopefully this episode, we're going to get some of the liquids voiding so that if I don't need them, they'll void. And if I do need them, you know, they're not going to void. So, because we're about to be able to make something. Technically, we could probably already make it, I think. But, oh yeah, we're barely scratching the amount of lubricant in here. All right, let me get, like, 5 buckets of this, or maybe 6 buckets of this. There we go. Let's get some speed upgrades. I'm going to go ahead and craft 16 of these things. And speed upgrades do exactly what you would think they do. So, when I put them in the interfaces over there, like the in and outs, basically it made it drop the items and collect the items faster, because otherwise it's fairly slow, but about 3 speed upgrades, and it runs fast enough that, you know, it's pretty reasonable at that point. So, just don't go too crazy with the speed upgrades because they do require a little bit more pressure. So, just a heads up on that. Just kind of be careful, especially when it comes to like big elevators. Like you'll eat through. Take it from me, I'm familiar with it. You will eat through a lot of pressure. So I'm going to put the UV light box setting like right. Grab my wrench. We're going to set it right there, connect it up. And then what we can do is we can take our empty PCB and throw it into there. And you'll notice that this thing is going to slowly, very, very, very slowly increase the etch success chance. But if we do some upgrades into this, let's do 3 and see how it does on pressure. It's quite a bit faster now. It's doing about 1% every like second and a half. Let's throw another couple in there. You can see the pressure starting to drop once I hit 5. It's starting to steadily drop, but it is going up at, it's a decent rate. Let's pull that out. Let's go with 4, I think. Because our pipe should be able to support 4, and 4 is not a terrible speed in truth. And I only need to make like 7 of these. Now I do suggest that you go ahead and let it go up to 100% etch success chance. Don't try to cut it at like 50. I mean, you might get lucky, but the higher percent chance, the better. Alright, so now that that's going, let's go ahead and make ourselves some etching acid. And you only ever really need like 1 bucket of this, and you're only going to need it like temporarily. So it's 2 spider eyes, 2 rotten flesh, 2 gunpowder, 2 green plastic, and a water bucket. Not too bad. We can definitely pull that off. So 2, 2, 2, and then I'll get the water bucket on my way over back to the room. I mean, it's a pretty easy recipe. There we go. I'll go through this door here. And let's check on this. How's this doing? We have 90%. Okay. I want to try to stay on top of this so we can kind of just get these done. Get the 7 of these done. I'm only going to do like the first one on camera. They are a little bit time consuming. Alright, so we're up to 100% etch success chance. Let's go ahead and pull that one out. And we're going to throw in our next PCB. Okay, so now what we're going to do is right over here, we're going to be making an etching acid bucket. So let's just say right here, the item name begins with etch. And then we'll just drop our gunpowder, rotten flesh, spider eyes, water bucket, and our 2 pieces of green plastic into there. And you can actually see, like, there's the gunpowder. You can kind of see it. I think it just crafted. Yep, there we go. Etching acid bucket. There we go. And what's the quest here? I remember there was a quest for something here. Make a printed circuit board. Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set up our etching acid, and I'm just going to put it right over here. It's going to be a very temporary thing. This is something that we're only going to use, the UV light box and the etching acid. We're only going to use this like a couple times, and then like for the duration of this episode pretty much, and then we'll never use it again. I'm going to go ahead and get back on ordering stabilized metal really quick. And I only need to make 7 of these. I'm not going to make all of these into, I'm not going to worry about the light box for all of them. Alright, so while that's running, while it's making the other 5 that we need, let's go ahead and take our circuit boards and we're just going to toss them into our etching acid. Alright, so we're just going to leave those floating in the etching acid for right now. If we grab them now and we take a look, you can see that they're up to 7% etching progress. And that's what we're waiting for, is we're waiting for it to get to 100% etching, basically. And once it does that, based on your percentage chance, as to what you have it etched at, like you can see right here, you're going to get an unassembled PCB, or you're going to get a failed PCB. I don't know if you can actually look at the failed in... You can't see the recipe, but you are going to get either... It's going to basically throw your chances and see, where it lands, basically. If you get lucky or you don't get lucky. So, okay, so while we're waiting on that, there's a few things that we're going to have to craft in mass. And that is, if we take a look at the printed circuit board, we are going to need a bunch of transistors and capacitors. These are black plastic, redstone with compressed iron, and then cyan plastic with compressed iron and redstone. So a lot of redstone, a lot of compressed iron, and then the cyan and black plastic. So let's see, I'm going to need to go make more dyes for sure. There's black plastic, but not enough. And let's see, where's this at? 32% chance. Now I will say you might as well, like I'm doing 2 right now, and then I'm going to do 5 the next time. You might as well just wait for your 7, so you only have to like watch it one time, because you can etch multiple of those at a time. Okay, I've got enough stabilized metal now to get the drill program, so I'm going to go ahead and order that one. So we'll have the drill and the laser program. And I'm actually not for sure if the drill and laser is used for much. So you can do this with just the laser if you use valves, or drill and laser if you use a block of compressed iron. But that's 20 valves. Anyways, the drill and laser program, that's all it's used for. So just that one thing, but... Okay, I'm going to get together a bunch of black and cyan plastic, and I'll be back here in just a bit. I need to go basically just make a bunch of red dye and blue dye right now. So I'll be back once I get this stuff sorted, and I wanted to check on the red dye real quick. We can use beetroot for that, right? Like normal... no, you can't. Okay. I was wondering if I could use beetroot for red dye, because normally in like vanilla Minecraft you can, but that's alright. Okay, we're pretty much done with the UV light box now, so I'm going to pull these speed upgrades out. I've got the last of our PCBs, the 5 right there. They're getting etched. And one way to easily see when they're done is they're going to have like little like circuit designs running through them. So... anyways, our cyan plastic, I've got that going, or I've had that going, and then we're also going to need the black plastic, there we go, and let's go ahead and make our transistors and capacitors. So, 31 of these, and we're going to set this to, I tell you what, we're going to set this to contains, let's see, filter item name contains, and we're going to say Tor. Because we have capacitors and transistors. So then we'll just dump in... I don't think... no, these shouldn't get pulled out. So we're going to throw in the redstone and the compressed iron. Anyways, we'll get that going through, and that'll make our first stuff. And then we're going to need 21, which it's making more plastic and stuff at the moment. So, and then we'll throw these in there. And you can see that our transistors are done. We now have those. And how's this stuff doing? How far off are we at the moment? 62%. Okay. Okay, well, while that stuff's finishing up, let's pop over. We're also going to need Sardis quartz. We're going to need a bit of that. So I'm going to grab, like, a stack of Sardis quartz will be fine. And there's our transistors and our capacitors. So then what we're going to do, we're going to take our unassembled PCBs. We're going to take 3 capacitors. And this should be formless, so it doesn't really matter how we lay it out. There we go. Just came down like a mega storm at the moment. Okay, so there's our 2 printed circuit boards. And there we go, advancement made. Okay. And actually we've done that advancement too. So let's actually pop up and let's go grab that. Even though my inventory is getting awesome at the moment. And let me order some more stabilized metal. We're just about done with the amadron tablet, really, because we've got... okay, that'll be 4 more, and then I'll need 4 more to get the laser and drill combination. Which really... Let me see. That makes pressure chamber valves. 20 of them. Yeah, technically we don't even need the laser drill combo. But let's grab that. And there's our advancement. Programming the assembly. I think I need to restart. I've noticed that after I'm on here for like a few hours, it starts kind of lagging on me, so... That advancement is done, which is pretty much all the Pneumaticraft advancements. Which I'm not going to grab that right this second. I mean, technically we don't need the combination. Okay, these PCBs are done, so there we go. There's our 7 printed circuit boards. Awesome. And just really, really quickly, let me get this stuff changed over, because they're going to need more capacitors and transistors. Yeah, that's right. Never mind. That. Okay. I'm going to toss those in there for now. I've got some more transistors being made, but we've got our 7 printed circuit boards. And so then what I want to do is I want to make the... this right here, the assembly controller. Let me do that. So there's that. Easy enough. And then we're going to want to get the laser. This right here, we're going to need some red dye. We're also going to need pneumatic cylinders, which is a bunch of blue plastic for that. And I'm probably going to need a bit more compressed iron as well. Let me see. I think I've got blue plastic. No, it would be this one. Okay, let me grab this blue dye out of here. And we'll get ourselves some blue plastic made real quick. And then I'm also going to need, I saw rose red and cannon barrel. I'm going to need more compressed iron. And so what we're going to do, let's get ourselves, we don't have to blow it up with TNT anymore. Now all we have to do is, we'll get like 4 stacks. Sounds good. So I'm definitely not hurting for iron at the moment. And I tell you what, actually, one thing, let me see. I think the only way to make the block of compressed iron within this pack is... Oh no, you could do that. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably just do that. I'm going to make ingots and then I'll compress the ones that I need. The metal press. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to change this over. I think these are, yeah, these are done. And actually, let's change this to items. Make it into an item filter. And we're going to put in compressed iron. Oh wait. These take compressed iron. I can't do that. Well, that's fine. We'll leave this here for right now. And then we're just going to take and throw in our iron. And let's go ahead and throw in some speed upgrades into this. Might as well throw a few in there because this thing doesn't use any pressure. So it doesn't matter if we were to throw in like all of them. You know, like fill it up with speed upgrades. That way it just transfers a bit faster. And you can see it's making stacks of compressed iron, a stack at a time. And it's probably used up a little bit of the air in there. Yeah, you can see instead of having 4.5 bars, it's dropped down to like 3.2. That's fine. Oh, and then I also need that rose red. So the best way, let's see, the best way to get rose red. Oh wait, I can actually just manually make that. Or can I not? I cannot. Let's take a look here. We can make it in the millstone with a companion cube, or squeezer, or mechanical squeezer. Okay, the integrated dynamics ones. What's it take to make a mechanical squeezer? Energy batteries and okay, I'm just going to start with the standard squeezer. So, block of iron, 2 planks, and some sticks. We're going to be getting into integrated dynamics here soon, but not today. And not tomorrow either. Not today or tomorrow, I promise you that. So we're just going to put our squeezer right here. This one is very manual. So if we just take and we put our rose bush in there and we jump on it, it's going to press this thing down. See, I used this thing, I think the last time I used this was modern, yeah, it's redstone. Okay. Redstone pulse will reset it, and then you can jump on it. And then flatten it out. You can also break and replace it, of course, but redstone is how you bring it back up. Okay, so there's our rose red. We get 8 pieces per, and I tell you what, this, can we then crush this into, we can then crush that into red dye. That might be the way that we want to go. Get the one that uses energy, like the mechanical squeezer. Because we're going to have to automate red dye as well. I don't know if we'll automate red dye today or if we'll do it next episode for our automatic plastic. I mean, right now I just want to get this section of the Pneumaticraft stuff done and get the crushers made. Okay, so anyways, there is our, we're going to need our cannon barrels, what, 3 of them for this? And then our pneumatic cylinders, 2. I'm going to need more blue plastic. There's that. Pneumatic cylinder. I'm actually probably going to need even more blue plastic, I'm pretty sure. And then there is our assembly laser. And then the next thing we're going to need is the platform. This right here, this thing requires orange plastic and pneumatic cylinders. Alright. Sounds good. This thing's making plastic, it's just not as fast as it could be. I'm just going to move some plastic over from these into that. Okay, and the one handling orange plastic should be, is it this one? No, it's probably this one. That's white. Probably this one then. There we go. This one's orange, so let's get a couple pieces of this red dye. Oh, this one's filled on gray plastic. There we go. There's some orange plastic. That should be plenty for what we need. I'll get 3 pieces. There we go. Okay, so 2 more pneumatic cylinders, and there is our assembly platform. And let's go ahead and set some of this stuff up. We still have to make the I/O units. So these right here, these are just pneumatic cylinders and then a hopper. We're going to need 2 of these. We're going to need 1 for input, 1 for output. But for right now, let's go ahead, and those don't actually take, oh yeah, they do. Okay, I need 6 more pneumatic cylinders. Awesome. Let me go ahead and just grab this etching acid. I'm going to throw this bucket into here. I don't need it. But I can't bring myself to throw it away. And I think I'm going to set this up over here. I do believe, but the only thing is we're going to have 2 of these. Tell you what, we're going to set it up in a temporary spot. It's going to get moved between this episode and next. Because we'll change everything over once we get the pipes changed over. So we're going to put our assembly controller right here. And this all has to be plugged up. Your air pressure actually goes into this thing. So what we'll do is we'll just plug that in, like right there, and then bring it over like that. And you can see it's starting to build up on pressure bars. And then what we're going to do, we're going to set up our laser. And you have to make sure this stuff's all attached. So we're going to put the laser setting like right there. And we're going to put the assembly platform right there. You want your laser to be, it has to be around it. It doesn't actually have to be adjacent to it. So, I mean, technically you can have it like right here, the laser, and it will still be able to reach this. But we're going to put it right there for right now. Okay, we should be all set now. There's our 6 pneumatic cylinders. And then we're going to get our 2 assembly I/O units. And we're going to put these, one's going to set right, we'll put one setting right here. We'll put one setting right there. And we're going to take our pneumatic wrench and just right click this one. It's going to turn blue. That means that this one is input, the orange one is output. Okay, and then we're going to set up 2 chests here. We'll put a chest setting right here for the output. We'll put a chest setting right here. This will be the input. Okay, and that's pretty much it. And then what we can do is, if we want to do the circuit boards, right? Now we don't have to do the UV light box and the etching acid. What we need to do is we need to just put in the empty PCB, and we need to have an assembly laser, an import, export, platform. We've already got all that stuff, and then we need the laser program. Okay, so let me actually pop over here. Let me go get our laser program out, and I'm going to go ahead and get our drill out as well. Our drill program. Now, the drill laser combination, you don't actually have to have that. It is a little bit faster if you use that. But once you put speed upgrades in there, it's kind of like, eh. So, I don't know if I'm going to actually use... In the past, a lot of times I haven't used the drill and laser combo. I've just used a drill and a laser, so that way I have like two assembly lines for automation, and I don't have to have both of them. I'm not for sure. Let's put our drill program just into this chest. We don't actually need this one right now. And we're going to take our laser program, we're going to drop it into the assembly controller right there. And now if we take and put our PCBs in there, we give it just a second, you can see the arm starts to move. It's going to go in there, it's going to grab that PCB out. And it's fairly slow. Let's throw a speed upgrade into this. Makes it a little bit faster. Let's throw another one in there. Maybe 4. We're going to start draining on pressure right now. We should probably wait on that. But it's going to bring the PCB over. The laser is going to activate. It's going to come over and it's going to etch it. Or it's going to print it. It's going to become a printed, or not a printed, it's an unassembled circuit board. And it's 100% of the time. We don't have to worry about percentages and all that stuff anymore. We just throw it in here, and whenever it's done, it comes into this chest. And it's staying pretty stable on pressure. We'll be able here soon, technically like right now, we could go ahead and do it. But anyways, there's our unassembled PCB. Perfect. Okay, and then let's go ahead and get ourselves 3 transistors, 3 capacitors. And let's check this thing out one more time. I love watching this thing, especially when you get a lot of speed upgrades in it. It's just like doing stuff, you know. It's really, really cool. And I want to set these things up so we have what kind of looks more like an assembly platform instead of just, or an assembly line, instead of just a bunch of machines sitting on the ground here. Because that looks pretty horrible, but... Alright, so that's our... Oh, whoops, I need... There we go. There's our 2 printed circuit boards. And now we're ready to make our machine frame for our crusher. Or our machine case. This right here. So stabilized metal, plastic sheets, compressed iron, cobalt plates, all that good stuff. And of course we've got stabilized metal from the amadron tablet. Let me go ahead and order a little bit more of that. I'm going to try to stay on top of that somewhat. Because honestly, I don't have any other use for lubricant. And if you look over here, like that's our lubricant. It's like near full all the time. Alright, so cobalt plates, compressed iron plates, and then we need the stabilized metals. Nice thing about the amadron tablet is you can order that stuff from pretty much anywhere. And let me go ahead and order another 12. And we're going to need, what, 4 of these right now? Okay. And then we're also going to need some plastic sheets. Let me pop over and grab those. I think that's most everything, right? Oh, the black iron frame. I may have to craft a little bit to get those 2. I think, honestly, well, those really aren't that bad, though. I've actually got the black iron on hand. I do need a little bit of glass, though. So, what, 8 pieces of glass? Alright, I need to turn a couple of these into plates, so we'll get that running. And then right here is where we actually craft it out. So we're going to have compressed iron plates on the corners. And then we're going to have plastic sheets right there. Stabilized metal setting here. We're going to have our cobalt plates setting here. What goes in the center? Certus quartz. Like that. What goes in the top? Printed circuit board stuff. What we've been working this whole time to get. And then we just need the frames. So let's get those crafted out real quick. 2 of those. And here we go. There is, should be our thing, right? What's going on? Oh, it's compressed iron that goes here. My bad. So that right there. There's our machine cases. So 2 of those. 2 of those, and advancement machine casing. Okay, so this whole little tab is done now at this point. We still have a lot of pneumatic craft left to do, though, or quite a bit of pneumatic craft, so we're not done. We're definitely not done with it. Okay, so I'm also going to need 4 pistons for each one. And there we go. There is 2 crushers. That part is done. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's go ahead and grab this input routing node connection. And we're going to pop over to the castle, and let's head right down here. And these crushers, I'm actually going to set them up right over here, is where I want them. So crusher setting there, crusher setting right there. And then we're going to do HV wire connectors here and here. And we'll just plug these up and over. These are just going to be fully automated ones. And we'll do just like that. And I forgot to grab my items. But what we're going to do is we're going to put... we're going to put an output routing node setting there, an output routing node setting there, and then we're going to put an input routing node setting right there. And then we're just going to take and connect up there. And then we're going to grab this and connect up there. And, oh wait. It's just pumping random things in. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me grab 2 of these. And we're going to say this is on the east side. We're going to put a precise item filter in there, and we're going to say that you can only accept empty sacks of holding for right now. For right now. We're going to change that in just a second. But for right now, that's all you can accept. So then if I pull this out, pull that out, and I'm going to grab that stuff. Okay, let me pop back over here. And what I'm going to be using for dyes is I'm going to use rose bushes, which I don't have any. That's fine. I'll go get some. And then I'm going to use lapis, because I've got 526 stacks of lapis. So I think that'll be alright. That'll be good. Okay, let me go grab some roses. And right now, the roses are going to be manual. We're going to automate that here soon. I don't know if we'll automate it this episode, because I have bigger fish to fry, so to speak. But we'll go ahead and just grab a bit of these rose bushes. And we'll dump them into there. And then, before I go over there, let me go ahead and grab this, this output routing node. The ones on the top are the ones that feed into the drawers, and then if there's no space, they go into the overflow chest. This is the ones that only feed into the drawers, so that's the one that I want. Okay, and we're just going to, right here on the output routing nodes, we're going to say this one, you're going to do rose bushes. And we'll close that off. And then this one, you're going to do lapis. And we'll close that off. Okay, so that's got lapis. That's got rose bushes. And it's making red dye powder. And, oh wait, I can't, will that only make it? It won't make it in here. Okay. Then, let's throw that back into there. Let's close off the lapis. I don't want this anymore. So instead, what we're going to do, since that's not going to work, that's fine. I guess we're going to do one of the flowers. Yeah. I'll just do one of the 2 tall flowers. So, let me pop over there. That's fine, because we'll just automate it just like we do with the, we'll do the Mojave indigo bush here. And then we can just automate it the same way we're going to do rose bushes, so that'll be fine. Okay, so right here then we'll just switch this over to the Mojave indigo bush. And there we go, that's going to start running. And then all we have to do is just plug up the outputs with a right click. And it's going to pull the dyes out. It's going to send them into our drawer network. And then our drawer network is already plugged up to output to the plastic production. And let me go ahead and grab all this extra red dye that I had from earlier. And then all I've got to do is just get a bunch of those flowers, which they're free with the sigil of the Green Grove, and we're set. Because it's not like we're hurting for life essence or blood in our blood network. A mushroom got dropped here and it keeps spreading and just making a bunch of mushrooms. Actually, I think it was like a stack of mushrooms, but I threw them down because I didn't need them and they wouldn't go into the drawer, so I was just like, meh. And threw them down and then, yeah, they're just spreading everywhere. Okay, so now if we pop over, I mean, I think it's probably, if it's waiting on anything at this point, it's just going to be waiting on plastic production. And then, like I said, I've got to make more flowers. Right now, it's semi-automated as far as the rose bushes and the indigo bushes. But if we take a look in here, there's 64 black plastic, there's 24 blue plastic, And looks like it's waiting on red dye. There's 64 gray. And not all of these are going to use every single color. So, there is that. Yeah, see, it's gotten the blue dye. There we go. It's drained everything out. Okay, yeah, it's actually used it to make plastics, because there's 64 green, there's 64 red, 64 black, 24 blue, because it's waiting on blue dye. This one hasn't crafted anything yet. It's waiting on blue. That one's waiting on blue, waiting on blue, waiting... Oh, wait, it's got blue. We've got 64 cyan plastic, and then over here, 24 orange, 64 white, and so on. Okay, so then all we've got to do to finish this setup, I've actually got to fill these up with plastics. But we're going to grab this connection. This is our output node connection. And then let me grab a bunch of input nodes. And I could either do some kind of extraction with pipes, or I could put nodes directly on this. I'm probably just going to put nodes directly on this, I think. That'll be fine. Because otherwise I'm going to have to do an extraction to a buffer. And it would have to be a little bit larger of a buffer, like a medium or something, to hold all 16 colors and then extract from that one point. I'm probably just going to do this. So we'll do input nodes, just setting along like this, and input nodes on this side, like that. And then we're just going to connect that up, and then connect up. And you can see it's pulled out. It pulled out whatever plastic was over here. This one is the gray plastic. So some of these aren't pulling out yet because we haven't locked them into drawers. But that's fine. And what's nice is these dies actually go really far. So, I mean, honestly, the crushers aren't going to run all that long, because these are going to get filled up on dies. And then before long, it only holds 8 stacks of plastic. So before long, this whole system is just going to get backed up and just be waiting. So, let's see. Is it pulling out anything? I don't think so. Okay, so basically any plastics that are built up in here are ones that are probably not slotted yet. So let's go through. Let's just grab our plastics. Some of these haven't crafted yet because they're waiting on dyes. I've got to go get more flowers, but there's some like orange plastic, white plastic. Yeah, it looks like it's pulled out all of the red, and this one is probably, what, green? Yeah. Okay, so there's the plastics we currently have produced. And you can see, like, red plastic, there's almost 2 stacks in there, almost 2 stacks of green, about 1.5 stacks of cyan. And these are just going to steadily start building up passively. Now, right now, like I said, I've got to go get some more flowers. So let me go do that real quick. Okay, so I found out that I was messing with this. I've actually got a chest here, and this is set to keep, I've got a little bit more than 64 in some cases because I was messing with stuff, but this is set to keep 64 of all 3 dyes in this chest. These are actually pulling the dyes back out of the plastic mixer and pumping them back into the system. It's not doing it with green because green has no place to go. Also, blue is full right now, but red keeps just pumping them in and then cycling them back through. So what we're going to do, let's make ourselves a mod item filter. Get some green dye here. Let's make 16 of these mod item filters. And then we're just going to say that this is the west side. So we're going to say that all of these, let's remove that. All of these on the west side will do Pneumaticraft repressurize. And that's on the west side. Okay, I'm just going to go through and add west side filters to all of this side. And basically it's telling it that only items from Pneumaticraft can be pulled out. So the dyes shouldn't be able to be pulled out now. And then over here we're going to say that on the east side you're going to get filters. Okay. And so now we should be all set. So then if I just plug this extraction cable back up, we should see the red dye getting pulled out and actually going places, I hope. There we go. It's actually building up within this plastic mixer, which is good to see. That one's building up. That's building up. That's building up. These are building up. Awesome. And I'm actually going to leave this cable connection right here because it can cycle the items back around to the chest, but I was actually having green dye building up in here. So whenever the dye gets backed up, it's like basically the dye is getting stuck within the item cables. This way at least it can cycle it back through and get it back into the chest, but it seems to be supplying dyes to all of these plastic mixers. So right now they're all building up on red, and then we'll see where it goes from there. For some reason it settled on just red and was just like, just fighting to just pull out red. So, I don't know. I mean, there's some other item conduits. These aren't really great because they don't intelligently send items. I think it actually pulled out all the blue dye that we had because it was backed up at 8 stacks. That's fine. We'll leave it like this. I think we'll grab this white. Let me grab these other colors of plastic that don't seem to be getting pulled out so we can go slot these in somewhere. These are pulling the items out, but they're, I think, I think they are. I don't know. Like, now they don't seem to want to pull out stuff from Pneumaticraft. So what I may have to do then is say, like, orange plastic, maybe? I'm actually going to set this to only keep one of each plastic, so it should cycle them that way. That actually might work pretty well. I don't know that these are actually pulling the items out, though, at the moment. It's always something, I swear. Okay, it seems like the mod item filters are just not working. So, 16 precise item filters, that'll be fine. I mean, at least they're cheap, so I don't mind it. The mod item filters just don't seem to be working right. Which is kind of regrettable, to say the least. Okay, it seems to be working now. I changed everything over to precise item filters, and now I think it's all working. I just need to get the last dyes right here. Okay, there we go. So now all of our plastics are in, and you can see light gray is already pumped out. 23 of those, 21 brown plastic, so it is working. White plastic is already backed up. 8 stacks of white plastic. So that means once it backs up over there, it won't be accepting any more of the liquid plastic, so it's all going to go elsewhere. So that's going to help as things get filled up. I mean, a lot of these we already have 2 stacks of. 1 stack of some of them. So we just have to give it time. And it'll, you know, it's a server, so probably by next episode we'll be filled up on all 16 colors of plastic. Honestly, I don't even know if it would be worth fully automating the red and blue dye. Honestly, I could have probably done it without the crusher. But that's fine. I'd rather have that. And then I can just basically manually grab those flowers and we'll always stay stocked on plastic. Alright, now the last thing that I want to get made this episode is the aerial interface. I want to get this thing up and going. But I want to get this up and going with our little bit of free time. This is a little bit important. Now, it was brought up in the comments a while back about maybe trying this for maybe trying it with the cake that we made a while back. If you recall, we made that one that we can't eat at the moment. But I did test it, and it does not work. So, we're not going to be able to use that to eat the cake. It'll give us the hunger from it, but it won't actually activate the effect. The effect has to be activated with us manually eating it, it seems like. So we may have to wait until age 5 for that. I had really high hopes for the aerial interface, but it does not apply the bonuses from the cakes. Either of them, in fact. So we're not going to be able to use that yet. That's too bad. Oh yeah, I forgot to bring a chest. I need to make a hopper for this. I actually need to make... I'll probably go ahead and make 2 hoppers, actually. Or no, actually, I just need 1 hopper right now. And we're going to make another hopper here in a second. Well, let's get the aerial interface set up first, and then we'll get everything plugged up for it. But I decided I want to go for this episode because this is kind of important. It's just a bit important that we get it because it's so good. Okay, so we're going to need to make advanced pressure tubes. These are 20 pressure chamber valves with a laser. Pressure chamber valves are made with a drill. Now we can also do that with the laser drill combo, but we're just going to do it this way. And we need to make a block of compressed iron. So let's do that real quick. I'm going to go ahead and make 3 blocks of it because I know I'm gonna need a lot of these advanced pressure tubes in the next episode. I'll probably go ahead and start prepping some of these for next episode, in fact, between this episode and next. But anyways, there's our block of compressed iron. And then what we're going to do is we haven't actually... Oh, you know what? We haven't made a drill yet. I am going to have to make a drill real quick. But it's probably not all that expensive, I should think. So the drill is 3 pneumatic cylinders, printed circuit board, and a drill core from Actually Editions. Oh wow, it is a little bit not really expensive, but involved to craft. Okay, so give me just a minute. I'm going to have to craft that thing out. I think there's unassembled PCBs. We've got the transistors, the capacitors. Okay, there's our 3 pneumatic cylinders and our drill. Okay. And we're going to set the drill up just like right here. And we can just kind of alternate between the programs. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to say, we're going to drop the drill program into this, and we're going to throw in our block of compressed iron. And this is going to grab it. It's going to move it over. Let me go ahead and actually bump the speed up on this for just a minute. It's going to drain the pressure a little bit. So I'm going to watch it. There we go. You can see the drill is drilling that, and it's creating valves for us. And go. By next episode, we should be able to have it really moving, because we'll be able to get the advanced pressure tubes, which really helps things out a lot. Okay, so 20 pressure chamber valves, and then we're going to change this over from drill to laser. And I'm going to work on, between this episode next, I'm going to get, first up, I'm going to get these things moved to like a better layout that looks a little bit better. But I also want to set up, get the stuff crafted for a second set of these. I want to have one where we keep the laser program in all the time, one where we keep the drill program in all the time. And if I'm feeling really skippy, I may set up another one that has laser and drill and have a laser drill combo. I don't know. We shall see. So anyways, it's lasering those valves, and there we go. We're going to get some advanced pressure tubes. Go ahead and speed it up a little bit here. Meow. These things look so good after you get a few speed upgrades in them. Okay, so there is our advanced pressure tubes. And then what we can do is craft our aerial interface. Oh wait, we need pressure chamber walls. That's fine. There's that. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and just get another craft of those, because I'm going to be setting up a second pressure chamber as well. So, alright, aerial interface. And this thing is quite handy. It really is. The first thing that I want to do with this is, well, first up, we'll go ahead and just set it up. And we're going to put it setting, I'll tell you what, it requires, I'm going to set it up in a temporary spot. Since it does require pressure, actually, I'm going to set it up right over here, and then we're going to move it next episode, I do believe. So what we'll do is we'll have the aerial interface setting like right there. Actually, you know what? We're not going to be able to run it until we get into advanced pressure. Yeah, we're going to have to wait. We're going to have to get advanced pressure up and going, and then... So we'll save that for next episode then. And all the fun that comes with it. So I guess since we're going to be waiting until... I mean, we have to wait until we get advanced pressure. I'm going to put it in where it's going to its permanent spot, which will be right over here, is where the aerial interface is going to set, like long term. Like next episode. So next episode, we'll get that up and going, and we're going to redo all of our pressure system, and we're probably going to do the chem thrower as well. I haven't really rushed to the chem thrower. I know I've been seemingly putting it off a couple episodes, but I don't have any use for it until we finish Pneumaticraft anyways, because we're going to be going to the end after we finish Pneumaticraft, and that's where we're actually going to be using the chem thrower at. So we will get that, I promise. Before we go to the end, we're going to have the chem thrower. But I don't really have time this episode because I want to get into the upgrades and everything. I guess we could go ahead and get Napalm production up and going just really quick, because it's only going to take a second. Basically what we need is... I'm going to have to go make a master node, actually. So let me get the iron for that. And then we're going to need a bunch of aluminum. And what we're going to do, let me go ahead and get the aluminum crushing up, because I want the grit from it. There we go. And let me get my block of iron to make our master node. And while that's running, let's go ahead and, let's see, right here we're going to put an output routing node, and then over here we're going to put an input routing node on the, let's see, napalm is diesel, correct? I'm sorry, gasoline. So the gasoline tank is this one. So we'll go ahead and put an input routing node. Actually, we've got one. What else am I using gasoline for? Oh, that's right. I'm using it as fuel as well. That's fine. So we're going to put an input routing node setting right there. Actually, I'm curious. Well, I'm going to keep it as a separate connection. I'm going to say I'm kind of curious if I could run it since the fluids seem to be working all right, but I don't want to risk it because Pneumaticraft, that's my power source, and over here it's my ammo source. I don't want to mix them just to be on the safe side. So we'll just set a master node up like right there, and then let me grab a bucket, and we'll get a bucket of our gasoline, and we're going to say that you on the west side, fluid filter gasoline, and then we'll just go ahead and grab this connection, and we'll run it over here to our master node real quick. And then right here we're going to say that you on the west side, fluid filter gasoline, and then I'm going to go ahead and just dump. I can't just dump it in there. Okay. Oh, that's fine. I'll just go ahead and connect that up, and this should start filling up with gasoline. It won't pump out to this on its own. So I tell you what, I'm not too worried about the speed. So I'm just going to put a fluid pipe right there. It doesn't have to be super fast on this one because it's only going to be like ammo that I use, you know, every so often. So we'll put our output node setting right there. We'll say the downside fluid filter, and then plug that to that, and we should see, there we go, gasoline's starting to build up. You can see right there 350 millibuckets. It's getting 50 every second. That's fine. It'll be more than enough to keep up with how much we're using it, because really the only use for it is burning things. So, and then we can just drop our aluminum grit into there, and it's going to start processing and making napalm for us. You can see there's actually a little bar there. There we go. You can see we're getting some napalm bit by bit. And that little bar there is basically how much of that aluminum grit has been used up. Like every operation. It's like 3 aluminum grit per 500 millibuckets, I think. Yeah. And there we go. And you can actually see that this thing's running right now. It's, you know, making that napalm, which is kind of cool. But this is going to start building up. I mean, right now it's got enough millibuckets to... Let's see, I think the chemical thrower, I want to say it has like a 2,000 millibucket tank, and then you can add another 2,000 millibuckets. If I recall, it might be 1,000 and then 2,000, but we'll have enough to fill it up, and it's going to last a little while. So it's going to be, it's a pretty powerful weapon because it's like just intense, like hellfire that you're like shooting out. So we'll have it for the end. It's going to be fun there. I'm not sure if we'll be able to hit Enderman with it. I'm actually kind of curious about that, if they'll dodge the napalm blast or not. But I kind of wish they would do like napalm grenades and stuff with it too. But anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. Actually, a couple minutes over. So I am going to end this one out here. Next episode, we may get the chem thrower up and going. We'll just see where, you know, it's kind of one of those projects I'm doing like in our spare time. But we will definitely overhaul our pneumatic system for sure and get the aerial interface up and going. And once we have this up and going, we won't have to worry about food anymore or experience. We won't have to worry about the book and all that mess. We can get our experience drained here and keep our food taken care of here. So we will get that up and going. And then, let's see, next episode will be mainly Pneumaticraft, and then we'll probably do an episode doing the elevator, and then we'll probably take a break from Pneumaticraft. We will come back to it because I want to get into drones a little bit, and I have a couple ideas for possible setups that we're going to be doing with drones. So I do want to get back to those, but I do want to, before we do that, I think we'll go tackle some of this here, because there's actually some really nice stuff that we can make once we get like the ender alloys that would be quite handy, like the ender utility stuff, which would be pretty cool. We also might use, let's see, Pneumaticraft. I know we're going to do a little bit with drones and elevators, and probably the doors as well, because they're really, really nifty. But we might also, we might use the air cannon for a little bit of item transfer stuff, which is kind of fun. Maybe turrets, I don't know. But as far as upgrading, I will craft a little bit of stuff between this episode and next. We're also going to use aphorism tiles as well. That's a gimme. Naturally, we're going to do aphorism tiles. And there's another sign as well that I want to get into. But I am going to craft up some things between episodes. I'm going to craft advanced liquid compressors. These are just basically blue plastic, advanced pressure tubes in a bucket. and it's an upgraded version of the standard liquid compressor that we're using, which means we also need some heat sinks. I'm going to craft up some of these, and I'm going to craft up advanced pressure tubes. I'm going to set up another pressure chamber, possibly even 3 in total. I'm not for sure. And I'm also going to craft some advanced PCBs, because we're going to be using those next episode as well. So, and then maybe a couple other things. We also might get a vortex cannon up and going, because those are fun too. But especially when there's like no Britannia. We might get one of these just to play with. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.